Good evening. I'm Clark Anthony. Welcome to the 20th annual and first ever virtual Friends of Balboa Park Award Ceremony. It's good to have you with us tonight. This is usually a luncheon at the Balboa Park Club. The good news is I didn't have to find a place to park tonight. The bad news is that I don't get the opportunity to look out across the room at hundreds of wonderful people, snappy dressers and smiling faces, and that's too bad. I do hope that you are smiling this evening, and maybe you're dressed up, or maybe you're not. See, the good news is you can be as casual as you want this evening, and no one's ever going to know, just as you can't tell whether or not I'm wearing pants. Now, luncheons are fine, but this is a happy hour event, so feel free to enjoy the libation of your choice as we go through the hour. I'm choosing to sip a little vintage, shall we say, iced tea. Yeah, that's a ticket. It's a good year. By the way, if you are safely sheltering in place tonight and you'd like to play a little drinking game, let me get you started. Begin by taking a sip each time you hear the word charcuterie. Charcuterie. No, I know. That will make perfect sense in just a few minutes from right now, okay? On a serious note, if you sponsored a virtual table or if you made a real donation to our make-believe event, thank you very much for supporting the Friends of Balboa Park. It makes a big difference. Now, at this traditional event each year for the past 20 years, we've honored extraordinary people and organizations within the park. And this year is virtually no exception. We will celebrate the inspiration of youth and the wisdom of age. We'll also talk a lot about some of the new things that are going on in the park in spite of the pandemic interruption. In fact, better than that, we'll not just talk about it, but Ranger Kim Dukla will take us on a virtual tour to show you what's been going on. And believe me, there is quite a lot. In the hour ahead, we will hear from Friends founder Betty Peabody. We'll also show you a 300-year-old bronze statue that survived Hurricane Katrina and now lives in our park, which of course is a much safer place to be. We will have a drawing, we will have a dog and pony show, and we will take you 148 feet up in the air to the Balboa Park Skywheel. So I hope you, wait a minute. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm being told that last thing is not going to happen, not tonight, so that's fine. Why don't we begin by putting together a virtual happy hour inspirational program.
Welcome. My name is Christy Piper, and I have the pleasure of being your co-chairman for the Friends of Balboa Park Virtual Awards Celebration. And we welcome you and thank you for joining us this evening. It is a sincere congratulations to our Millennium Award honoree, the Japanese Friendship Garden, as well as our Lifetime Achievement honoree, Ranger Kim. Let's not forget that fabulous honorary chairwoman, Marie Tuttle, and our Inspiration Award winners that represent the different entities of volunteerism within Balboa Park. We also have the Betty Peabody Emerging Young Leader Award. Congratulations to all of you. And it does take a team to make the dream work. And I'd like to sincerely thank my co-chairman, Julie Novak, along with our awards celebration committee. Couldn't do it without all of you. Our wonderful virtual table sponsors, our underwriters, our donors, and let's not forget the fabulous Friends of Balboa Park staff and our board of trustees. Again, we thank you so much for your participation and your generosity for the Awards Celebration 2020. And I'm thrilled to be out here at Becker's Catering for our virtual table sponsors, where we are sharing how to put together a charcuterie platter. So let's take it away, Becker's, and see how it's done. Again, thank you, and I toast to all of you.
Hi, my name is Olga Worm, and this is my son, Chef Scott Worm. We are from Becker's Catering, and we are happy to present the charcuterie for your event for the Friends of Balboa Park. We're very proud to be working with all of you again. So we'd like to tell you a little bit about the charcuterie display that we have here, and that hopefully many of you are eating as we speak.
Charcuterie is a French term for many different types of cured pork meats. On our charcuterie platter, we have sopressata, Italian dry, Spanish chorizo, and prosciutto. We also decide to pair them with many different varieties of cheeses that we rotate throughout the different seasons. And here we have a manchego, a port derby, sharp and white cheddar, brie, chèvre, and Munster. We also add a couple little snacks, some dried apricot and figs, and an assortment of mixed nuts to go along with charcuterie. And we also include crisps, flavored baguettes, and crackers.
And to finish off your selection, we have a nice assortment of petit fours for a little sweet treat. And no table is complete without a floral centerpiece. And I would like to introduce Suzanne, who will tell you about our centerpiece.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Johnson. I'm a past president of the San Diego Floral Association. Normally, we provide the floral decor for the foyer of the Balboa Park Club, but this year we're going to show you how to make a fun Asian-inspired arrangement for your own table.
And I'm Sue McDonald. I'm also with the Friends of Balboa Park. I will just be narrating here while Suzanne is making the arrangements. We're going to show you this Asian-inspired flower arrangement. We will start with some horsetail from the bamboo family. If you bind this together, it will form a structure for this arrangement. Then, with some basic ikebana elements here, the horsetail will represent heaven. The heavier leaves are the representation of the earth. Gerber daisies are added. They are representing the human, bound by two. A little background here. The San Diego Floral Association was founded in 1906 to beautify Balboa Park for the 1915 California-Panama Exposition. At this time, the Floral Association beautifies Balboa Park for generations to come. If you are interested in ikebana, please consider contacting our member organizations. You can contact Ikebana International Chapter 119, Ikebana School San Diego Chapter, the San Diego Wabi Study Center of the O'Hara School, Sogetsu School of Ikebana San Diego branch. As you can see, it didn't take too many minutes to put this beautiful arrangement together. Thank you for supporting the Friends of Balboa Park.
Hello, everyone. My name is Irving Gonzalez. I'm the mixologist here in Snake Oil Cocktail Company. And thank you for joining Friends of Balboa Park award celebration. And congratulations to all award honorees. So based on your celebration and in taking inspiration out of it, tonight we're gonna make a cocktail. It's called the Carousel-tini. So has bourbon, has some blueberries, has some dry lavender just to bring the aroma out, and has some lemon juice. So let's get to it, all right? So first thing we're gonna need is 1.5 ounces of bourbon. So we wanna add that kind of like smoky wood flavor to this cocktail. It's gonna be well balanced. It's not gonna be like way too sweet. It's gonna be more on the spirit side of the flavors. We're gonna add 6 to 8 blueberries, fresh blueberries in here. All right, just wanna bring that color out. Also, like I said, want to have some aroma in this cocktail. And what is better that goes with blueberries? Lavender. Lavender is great. 1 tablespoon of lavender will work. And now, just to release that kind of like flavors and aromas, we're just going to muddle it. Just going to muddle so we can kind of like destroy the blueberry, bring the sugar out, bring the color out, which is the important part of this cocktail. You can smell it from here, it's great. Also, just to balance it out, we want to add some kind of like a simple syrup, and also we want to add some citrus juice. So let's go ahead and add 1 ounce to simple syrup. And ½ ounce of lemon juice. Lemon juice is really important here. We want to have the citric aspect of this cocktail. Otherwise, it's going to be way too sweet and we're not going to enjoy it that much. So now that we have all the ingredients here, this is the important part. We need to shake, add some ice to it. All right, ice and shake it away. Right, 10 to 15 seconds will work. Now that we have that, I'm gonna serve it in a coupe glass or a martini glass. We need to keep that really nice aspect of the carousel tinting here. Serve it. Look at that color. Tell you about the color. Garnish with a little kind of like giraffe here, a little carousel friend in here. Also, we can garnish it too with a fire stick on the side just to give it kind of like a really nice color to it. And for more information on how you can make an impact on park project or sponsor a carousel animal ride like this giraffe over here, visit friendsofbalboapark.org. Thank you guys. Cheers.
Hello, I'm Pat Coy. I'm with the Friends of Balboa Park, past chair of the board, and I'm here today to present a very special award. It's our Millennium Award to Mr. Dennis Otsuji, who oversees the Japanese Friendship Garden here in Balboa Park. It's truly an honor for me to do this because I have worked with Dennis for over 35 years in the professional landscape architecture, and what Dennis has done, not just for this project, but also for everything else, is really to preserve the park's gems. And this is certainly one of them. And as a steward of the land, Dennis has done this selflessly and without any concern of the time it takes. Dennis has really presented us with an opportunity here to preserve and protect a garden which is truly one of a kind in the world. And Dennis, again, I do have such a privilege to offer this to you as an award. And thank you so much for your dedication, your staff's dedication, and the ability to really expand this park going back to its original start in the 1915 exposition. So 105 years later, we are now looking at really, truly one of a kind. And it wouldn't happen without your help and your effort and your staff as well. So congratulations, the 2020 Millennium Award.
Thank you, Pat. The Japanese Friendship Garden of San Diego is honored in receiving this Millennium Award from Friends of Balboa Park. One of the things that they were really looking for was, what we had contributed to Balboa Park. And in the past 5 to 10 years, we've been able to expand this garden from 2.5 acres to over 11 acres of pristine Japanese gardens related to the culture of our ancestor in regards to the design of it more than anything else. And we greatly appreciate the honor that we've been given in regards to this award. And we consider ourselves the steward of this land for Balboa Park and the city of San Diego and the community itself, and for their enjoyment more than anything else. And in the future, we plan to have a greater expansion in regards to the cultural and educational value of this garden together with Balboa Park and its legend history that they have, as you know, it being the crown jewel of San Diego more than anything else. And hopefully we will be able to contribute more of that in the future. And thank you, Pat, for this award from Friends of Balboa Park. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Julie Cowan-Novak, and I've had the honor to co-chair this event for the second year in a row with my dear friend, Christy Piper. I'd like to welcome you to this year's event, the annual Friends Celebration, honoring those who contribute so much to this special treasure of Balboa Park. In 2020, a year like no other, we've added a fundraising component to this year's event, with a special tribute to our 1910, our beloved carousel. And we offer you the opportunity to contribute to supporting this very special treasure to our park and beyond. It is truly one of the unique crown jewels of the park and our San Diego community. Bill Brown, our carousel manager for the past 47 years, needs no introduction. He is an extraordinary artist who is restoring our menagerie carousel one adorable animal at a time. You'll hear from Ann Wilson, our outstanding co-chair of the capital campaign for our beloved carousel. And finally, you'll meet Goldie, a sweet 3-year-old who happens to be my granddaughter. She's meeting her beloved Goldie George for the first time today. Goldie George honors her and my Uncle George, who turned 100 on September 18th, 2020. Many of you met him at last year's luncheon, where he shared his experiences at the 1935 exposition. He attended as a 15-year-old teenager, riding his bike to the park. Without further ado, Bill Brown.
Hi, welcome to the virtual carousel here. We've taken advantage of this coronavirus shutdown to do a lot of work on the carousel. My staff has been doing a lot of painting. We've painted the kiddie ride, we painted the ticket box, we painted the building, and right now we're painting the frames on the carousel, the framework, and we're even painting some of the animals. I have a restoration team of very talented people, and one of them, a gentleman named Tom Trinan, has just restored this frog right here. Doesn't it look amazing? And I talked him into doing this other frog too. One of the things I'm most proud of is we've reinstalled 72 light fixtures that were there in 1910. And now these light fixtures were removed deliberately because 100 years ago or so, carousels were burning down due to electrical fires. And I think the manufacturers must have overestimated how many lights their wiring could handle, because it wasn't working. So they deliberately took 72 of these light fixtures out, 36 that illuminated these paintings here, and 36 that illuminated the outer rounding board paintings on the upper edge of the outer carousel. And for about 100 years, they've been missing. There were just holes there. And I felt, because we just had the carousel rewired, and mainly because we've just added LED light bulbs, which use a lot less energy, we'd be able to restore those lights. And that's what we've done, and it really makes a difference. The paintings are much brighter now. They were in shadow. The whole purpose of those lights was to illuminate the paintings, and now they look much better. So that's what I'm most proud of, and thank you for having this visit with me. Here you go, Ann.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Balboa Park Carousel, or as I like to call it, the real dog and pony show. I'm Ann Wilson. I'm chair of the Carousel Capital Campaign and also part of Bill Brown's team who is restoring the animals. Currently, I'm working with Sally Hickson and Bill on Spike, our armored horse. And he's just so much fun to work on, and it's really a fun project to have. Not only do we have dogs and horses on our carousel, we have lots of other animals. That's why we call these carousels menagerie carousels. I'm so happy to tell you that we have raised $2.3 million of the $3 million goal for our Carousel Capital Campaign Fund. We've paid off the purchase price of $1.6 million, and we are currently making improvements, restoration, and other things that the carousel needs, as Bill talked about earlier. And I want to thank all the donors to the Carousel Capital Campaign for all your contributions and your support and your love for this magical machine that we love so dearly. Without all our wonderful donors, we couldn't have done this, and we just thank you so, so much that we're able to leave this legacy for future generations of San Diegans. One of the ways we have raised money for the carousel is to offer opportunities for sponsorship of the individual rides. Of the 56 rides on the carousel, including 4 of the chariots, we have sponsors for 43. There are 13 animals available to be sponsored. For example, this poor horsey right here has not been sponsored. All its other horsey friends are already sponsored, so it feels so left out. So please consider sponsoring this wonderful horse on our carousel, or one of its other friends. We still have mules and ostriches and zebras and a rooster, a stork, a giraffe, a camel, a deer, and a sea monster. So if you feel like it, please consider being a sponsor. You can also sponsor an animal as a group. For example, our lovely golden retriever here in the back is the Point Loma High School pointer dog mascot. This dog was sponsored by a group of over 60 alumni and friends of Point Loma High School. So it's really possible to get a lot of people to get together to do this. Go Pointers. And as Julie told you earlier, Goldie George was adopted in honor of her Uncle George's 100th birthday and her granddaughter Goldie. So we're very happy to have groups or families or organizations, whatever, come together and to sponsor one of our animals. Other sponsorship opportunities include plaques on our carousel benches and also on the kiddie ride, either an individual airplane or a butterfly. All sponsorships are honored with a plaque, and you'll have your name on the plaque, plus you get to name the animal for perpetuity. It will always have your name and your animal's name on the plaque. You can go to our website, www.friendsofbalboapark.org, or call our office at 619-232-2282 for more information about sponsorships. Thank you so much for attending our event today, and we look forward to having our annual luncheon at the Balboa Park Club again next year in 2021. Thank you.
Personally, it makes me dizzy just watching it go around, or that could be the iced tea, I suppose, as well. Can you believe there's still one horse with no sponsor and no name? It's sad, isn't it? But it's also a golden opportunity for you to step up and maybe take charge. Here's an off-the-wall question, but it's probably pretty good cocktail conversation, I guess. Have you ever seen a koi pond shaped like a turtle? And have you ever figured out why? We'll have the answer to that coming up in just a few minutes here. Right now, let's draw a prize for one lucky friend, one of the new friends who has joined just recently. We have a bunch of names in the hat here. We're drawing for a $100 gift certificate for the Prado restaurant, 2 Park Explorer passes, and 4 carousel tickets, and a partridge in a pear tree. We'll see. No purchase necessary. Let's find out who we're going to draw here. I'm going to do it totally blind and pick out a name. And it is, can you read that? Lorraine Schmallenberger. Congratulations, Lorraine. By the way, our membership chair is going to hold another opportunity drawing for new members who join the Friends within the next 30 days. So you can sign up at the friendsofbalboapark.org. Next up, Betty Peabody makes a very special presentation as we continue with the 2020 Friends of Balboa Park Happy Hour Awards Program.
Kim, I can't tell you what a pleasure it is for me to present an award to you on behalf of the Friends of Balboa Park. You are the ultimate, the penultimate of park rangers. It's what every park should have in a park ranger. The tours you've given us, the kindness you've shown us, you're our go-to guy. Anybody who's ever participated in a Thursday Club rummage sale knows how to find you and how to get their parking tickets written off. You are simply super, Kim. And speaking of tours, we have a closer bond than that because some years ago, and you know exactly how many, you were going to give a very special tour to the French ambassador. And you called at 10 o'clock the night before and said, Betty, you have to help me. I'm in the emergency room with my father who's having a heart attack, and we're in labor, and our baby's about to be born. You jumped in the car, drove to Los Angeles for the birth of Morgan, and he's been your sidekick ever since. So we have some wonderfully common bonds, Kim, and I can't tell you how pleased I am to be presenting this to you. You've always given us the information you needed. You've collected archives. You know the past and history and the future and the new things that are happening in the park. And thank you so much for sharing. And on behalf of the Friends of Balboa Park, I want to present this award to you for your lifetime achievement with the Friends in Balboa Park. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you so much,
I'd love
Betty.
to give you a virtual hug.
Yes, consider a virtual hug back. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Well, this is, I'm, for one time, I'm almost beyond words here. I'm also without a hat. As it turns out, I feel naked without my ranger hat here. Believe it or not, I actually lost it today. So this is something that wonderfully reminds me of being a ranger. I just want to thank the Friends because I was thinking about that hat. Does that define me? No, it probably doesn't. What I think defines me is the relationships I've been able to make over the years with so many people in Balboa Park, but most especially the people with the Friends of Balboa Park. We've essentially grown up in this park together, and they have been so kind to me personally, to my family. They have been leaders in this park. They've done everything that the Parks and Recreation Department could ever ask for in terms of providing help and just inspiration. So I couldn't be receiving this award from a kinder, better organization. I thank you so very much. I'm very humbled by this. Thank you.
Welcome to the Japanese Friendship Garden. Today, I'm going to talk about the history of the garden in this area at our koi pond. So the history of the Japanese Friendship Garden goes back in 1915 when Japan donated a tea house to U.S. for the Panama Exposition in Balboa Park. So years later, after the exposition, the tea house was managed by Asakawa family, but around 1940s, the tea house was dismantled and the family was sent to the internment camps. So later on, late 1970s, the key citizens in San Diego, which is the former organization, the San Diego Yokohama Sister City, wants to restore the tea house in Balboa Park. So they did a fundraising and acquired this land to build the Japanese Friendship Garden. So in around 1981, the Japanese Friendship Garden Society was incorporated, a 501c3. And in 1991, that's when we opened the first phase of the Japanese Friendship Garden. It was just this upper level, including this koi pond. Around 1999, when we opened the second phase, we added the admin building and the exhibit hall. So then in the last opening after 1999, our last expansion, we opened in 2015, which includes the lower garden. So today I want to highlight this area in the Japanese Friendship Garden, our turtle-shaped pond. So the turtle shape means long life in Japan. So everything in the Japanese Friendship Garden has meanings because it's designed to appeal to our senses. So I'm going to show you a few features of the Japanese garden, and we're going to go down to the lower canyon. Okay, we're here at the Garden of Enlightenment. This statue right here was donated by a collector from San Diego. So the story of this statue, it was purchased by a merchant from New Orleans in Mississippi. He built a Japanese garden in Mississippi. It's called the Middlegate Japanese Garden. In 1995, the Hurricane Katrina destroyed the garden. And everything, the garden was destroyed, everything was sent to Smithsonian Museum. The collector in San Diego purchased this statue from that garden and decided to donate it to the Japanese Friendship Garden. So when we received the statue, it was broken into pieces. The head was off. Everything is all into pieces. So we hired a restoration company in LA, and they were able to restore the statue. This is a 300-year-old statue, bronze statue. And we had a Buddhist priest from Kamakura, Japan, and he was amazed and surprised that we have this statue here in US or even here in San Diego. And it's such a treasure for us. And we just recently opened this early last year, this whole area. So we are at our last stop. This is the Inamori Pavilion. It's named after our donor, Dr. Kazuo Inamori. He's the founder and CEO of Kyocera. As you can see right here, this waterfall, it was designed by stone placer from Japan, Master Gardener, and they were inspired by the Sunset Cliff in La Jolla. So they came all the way to Japan and carefully placed these rocks. We have quite a collection of koi fishes here, and many of it's from their offspring. But we do a lot of weddings in this building, and we have rotating exhibitions as well. So hopefully when you get a chance, you come visit the garden and see this wonderful building. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm David Marshall, and I'm honored to be the Friends Board Chair at such a transformative time for the organization and such a challenging time for Balboa Park. I couldn't be more proud of what our board and staff have achieved this past year, even in the midst of this unprecedented pandemic. On behalf of the Board of Directors, a special note of gratitude to the co-chairs of the event, Christy Piper and Julie Novak, who you saw earlier, along with our wonderful committee and volunteers. Even when we can't gather in person to put on a traditional event, they vowed that the show must go on and never stop pushing forward. My 2-year term as board chair is coming to an end in January. 5 years ago, I joined the Board of Friends because I knew Friends had a great record of getting things done in the park. They just completed the restoration of the gatehouses, and I wanted to offer my expertise as a preservation architect to help with more park improvements. Since then, I've been involved in creating several historic interpretive signs, studying the possible reconstruction of the log bridge in Palm Canyon, researching the history of the carousel, and replacing the carillon speakers in the top of the California Tower. I'd like to thank my colleagues on the board, both for their confidence in my leadership and for their commitment to ensuring our organization's continued success. It's an honor to serve alongside the hundreds of other board members of nonprofits throughout Balboa Park. We have all been entrusted to be our organization's stewards during probably the greatest threat to our park since it was first created in 1868. Speaking on behalf of the Friends Board, it's an honor to stand with you as we weather this storm together. I've been very proud to serve during a time when Friends has achieved so much. During my tenure, we've completed a number of meaningful park projects and invested over $1 million into Balboa Park, thanks to the commitment of our donors, volunteers, staff, Parks and Recreation Department, and of course, our fellow park organizations. One project that I'm particularly proud of was just completed, the restoration of 23 historic sconces in the Plaza de Panama, you can see in this photograph. A sincere thanks to Marie Tudhill, whose identity as the project's major benefactor has been kept secret until tonight. During my tenure, we also completed the acquisition of the historic Balboa Park Carousel that you saw earlier, and we've also begun our restoration work there. We have witnessed the growth of our annual events, including our butterfly release in Zorro Gardens, National Carousel Day, and now this very special virtual awards ceremony. Friends has surpassed 25,000 and the milestone mark for school children who come to Balboa Park via our field trip program. And we have expanded our board's composition to reflect and support the next generation of leaders. After my 2 years as chair, I'm looking forward to passing the baton in January, but I will still remain fully engaged in Friends' continuing efforts to advocate for a better future for Balboa Park, including improved governance, financing, plan implementation, and community awareness of the park's needs. Challenge San Diego's business community to become more involved in making a difference in Balboa Park, and explore potentially transformative new strategic planning partnerships that would better serve Balboa Park. I find it very, very reassuring to know that Friends Board will be in the very capable hands of the new chair, Sarah Evans, starting next year. In closing, I'd like to congratulate this year's awards recipients and thank all of you for supporting Friends of Balboa Park. And now I'd like to pass it back to our intrepid host, Clark Anthony.
Thank you, David. As you may know, David Marshall's company, Heritage Architecture and Planning, repurposed the Western Metal Supply Building, which is now part of Petco Park. And David, I believe I heard that you are also doing preservation work at the Hotel Del. How's that coming?
Oh, it's great. It's great to be involved in these great landmarks. And the work we're doing at the Del is to help restore the front of the building. So in about another 8 to 10 months, people will be able to appreciate the Del as it first looked in 1888.
I gotta ask you one thing though. It looks like you're on top of the Balboa Park skywheel right now. You're not really, are you? It just looks like
I am not. This is all virtual. Not everything you see is real.
Well, yeah, that's life these days, isn't it? Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate what you do professionally and also as a volunteer for our community. It is time now for the 2020 Inspiration Awards, and they are the ones that honor dedicated, tireless park volunteers. Each awardee is nominated by one of the institutions in the park, and we ask them all one at a time to tell us what it is that inspires them to volunteer. Now, our inspirational award for the Spreckles Organ Society is Manuel Aguilar. Manny says, what inspires me to volunteer in Balboa Park is a deep curiosity to understand the relationship it has with the people of the community. The park is still a mystery to many locals, even those whose families have lived here for generations. The Spreckles Organ Pavilion shares a similar mystery for people who have never enjoyed a concert, let alone one at the largest outdoor organ in the world. By volunteering, I hope to help unravel the mystery of the Organ Pavilion to the community and to people from all over the world. Congratulations to Manny Aguilar. Our next recipient, volunteer Frank Cassiani, is the president of Spanish Village. Frank says, my inspiration was driven by the beauty and the historical value of the park for the entire community. It's such a beautiful place to balance oneself in harmony. Strolling through the park brings peace. The beauty and history need to be preserved. Spanish Village Art Center, where I call home, is a place of tranquility and encouragement. You always have another artist willing to help you with advice. We have worked tirelessly to get SVAC recognized throughout the park. I truly believe we have succeeded and we are part of the greater community. Congratulations to Inspiration Award winner Frank Cassiani. Now, we cannot hear you, but we do hope that you're clapping at home for each one of our awardees here. Robert Johnston receives a 2020 Inspiration Award from the San Diego Air and Space Museum. Bob worked in the aerospace industry for 50 plus years. He then represented Convair's Alumni Association on the museum's scholarship board. And he discovered that one of his former employees, a volunteer at the museum, had published a book about Convair aircraft. That led Bob to the museum's library and archives, where he was inspired to work on a multi-year plan and various grant proposals for the museum. And that began more than a decade ago and continues. Here's a fun fact. Both Bob and his wife attended the 1935 exposition when they were toddlers. Congratulations to inspiring Robert Johnston. Mike Kelly is receiving an Inspiration Award for his service on the Committee of 100. Mike and his wife Diane moved to San Diego in 1972. He says, the Spanish colonial architecture in Balboa Park caught my eye early, and I was determined to learn about the Panama, California exposition. In a used bookstore, I discovered the architecture and the gardens of the San Diego exposition. It had wonderful photos of the 1915 buildings when they were new. But it was the pictures of the buildings no longer standing that inspired me to get involved with the Committee of 100. Thank you, Mike, and congratulations on your award. Denise Walker is our Inspirational Award honoree for her dedication to junior theater. Ensuring no child felt the sting of thinking they were unlovable is what inspired Denise. She believed that in healing another's soul, you heal your own. Denise Walker passed away earlier this year. Accepting the Inspiration Award is her granddaughter, Alex Walker.
My grandmother, Denise Walker, was the most loving and caring person I ever knew. She was a dedicated volunteer at San Diego Junior Theater for 10 years and a patron for even longer. She has volunteered in multiple positions, from making costumes to house management to serving meals at our school day matinees. I shared my grandmother with all of the students at Junior Theater. She supported everyone, making sure to tell them anything interesting she found about the shows, to making goodie bags for them at the end of every performance to let them know how proud of them she was. She's taken hundreds of photos of others to capture the memories, though it's hard to find photos of her, so those memories of her lie in our hearts. I'm sure everyone at Junior Theater has at least one unique story about Denise Walker. She brought creativity, smiles, and hugs to a community that loved her dearly.
Thank you, Alex. Alex Walker is a student at San Diego City College, and she has worked as the stage manager at the Junior Theater. Year after year, we are blessed with volunteers who accomplish so much and yet often receive so little recognition. And that's why the Friends of Balboa Park are so pleased to present these Inspiration Awards to sing the praises of our unsung heroes. Coming up, we'll meet the winner of the Betty Peabody Award, and we'll also hear a little bit more from Betty. Plus, did you know that construction is beginning on a new children's zoo? It's true, and that's one of the stops that we'll make on Ranger Kim's virtual tour that's coming up in just a little while. We'll also get a closer look at that place, and we won't even need a hard hat or a mask. It's amazing. Now, let's hear from the Executive Director of the Friends of Balboa Park, John Bolthouse.
Thank you, Clark, and good evening, everyone. I'm John Bolthouse, proud to be the Executive Director of Friends of Balboa Park. Well, I must say I had no idea I would be addressing attendees of this year's event through the camera lens of my laptop. But as we all know and understand the circumstances, and we're not going to let that stand in the way of a good time, we promise. After all, we have some extraordinary people and organizations to recognize for helping make Balboa Park the magnificent place we cherish so dearly. And speaking of celebrating, we want to thank the wonderful sponsors of tonight's program who made this virtual gathering possible. We would not be here tonight to share our collective love of Balboa Park without your generosity. I'm honored to be part of Friends of Balboa Park, an organization that's part of a larger family of park stewards. And by stewards, I'm referring to all of you watching tonight. It's your commitment to this incredible place that inspires and empowers us to make Balboa Park the best it can be for visitors who come from all over the world. As we continue to work from home, we're reminded of just how important Balboa Park plays in our lives. We know you long for that sense of normal, and our board, volunteers, and staff are channeling the community's support of the park into positive collaborations and results behind the scenes that will help make Balboa Park even better when we do get back together again someday, hopefully soon. Now, if you've attended these annual events in the past, you know that we like to share what we've achieved since this time last year, and you're hearing about a number of these during tonight's program. While the pandemic has been a real challenge to our efforts in the park, we haven't been deterred, and we hope you've been able to come to the park since it began reopening this past summer to see some of the results of our efforts. From the repainting of the iconic Cabrillo Bridge to repairing the charming Palm Canyon Footbridge, we've certainly not been idle. And to succeed, we've made partnership a priority, whether that's joining forces with the Balboa Park Conservancy on the revitalization of Alcazar Garden, or working alongside the San Diego Police Foundation in addressing the park's safety and security with a new off-road vehicle for the police department's patrol of the park. We're in the final stages of work enhancing the space around the giant Morton Bay fig tree next to the Natural History Museum, showcasing this majestic specimen with better fencing and an elegant viewing platform. And as you heard earlier this evening, we continue to make enhancements to the historic Balboa Park Carousel. Sadly, due to the pandemic, the carousel has been closed to the public since March, but we've taken advantage of this downtime. As Carousel Manager Bill Brown mentioned earlier, upgrades to the electrical system are underway, rides are being restored, woodwork has been repaired, and new paint is being applied inside and out. We're able to make these improvements thanks to the public support of our $3 million capital campaign. We've now surpassed the campaign's $2.4 million mark, so please continue helping us to preserve and enhance the beloved Balboa Park Carousel. And like so many organizations during the pandemic, Friends of Balboa Park has shifted a number of our programs to virtual offerings. We transitioned such in-person community events as National Carousel Day, our annual butterfly release, and tonight's award ceremony to platforms that enable us to bring many of Balboa Park's most popular occasions right home to you. And though our field trip program is now on hold, Friends of Balboa Park was pleased to recently host a virtual educators forum for school children, for school teachers, and museum staff, so San Diego's academic community can stay connected to the park. In spite of the global pandemic, we have persevered, delivering on our continued commitment to make Balboa Park a better place for everyone. And make no mistake, when this crisis has passed, we will come out of this a stronger organization, better positioned to serve the park. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's virtual event. I want to thank the Award Celebration Committee, particularly the co-chairs, Christy Piper and Julie Novak, for an outstanding program. Also, a special note of thanks to the Board of Directors, my partner in this effort here in Balboa Park, our dedicated volunteers, and my magnificent professional staff. And finally, a hearty congratulations to all this year's awards recipients. It is you who make Balboa Park such a world-class destination. From all of us at Friends of Balboa Park, our best wishes to you all and your families for good health and high spirits during these uncertain times. The park will always be here for you, and with your continued support during these challenging times, Friends of Balboa Park will be here to welcome you back.
The Betty Peabody Emerging Young Leader of Balboa Park Award is named in honor of our organization's founder and lifelong champion of Balboa Park. Established by Friends of Balboa Park in 2016, this annual award recognizes extraordinary young professionals who have demonstrated the leadership qualities essential for the park's future as a community asset, and whose respect amongst their peers inspired their nomination. And those qualities come shining through once again this year, as we proudly recognize the 2020 recipient of the Betty Peabody Emerging Young Leader of Balboa Park, Kristen Mahalko, Director of Operations of the Balboa Park Cultural Partnership.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be named Betty Peabody Emerging Young Leader of Balboa Park this year. It's such an honor to work in Balboa Park with all of the employees and volunteers and really bringing One Park, One Team to life in everything that we do through the Balboa Park Cultural Partnership. Thank you.
Whenever people find out that I'm a ranger in Balboa Park, they always say, man, you are really lucky, I'll bet. And they're absolutely right. To get to come to this beautiful park, this world-class park, get paid to work here, I'm blessed every day. But beyond the park itself, one of the greatest privileges of the park has been able to work with the men and women with the Friends of Balboa Park, their staff, their board of directors, and especially all of their volunteers and contributors. They do such a magnificent job helping us here in the park, and they have become like a second family to me. One of the things I've loved to do with them throughout the years is give them tours of the park. We've done that on an almost yearly basis. This crazy year of the pandemic, there's been a lot less of that for all of us. So we thought what might be kind of special for you out there is to virtually give you a tour of the park with Ranger Kim, and that's just what we're going to do right now. Before we get started on our virtual tour, I'll ask the audience if anyone needs to go to the restroom. That's what I usually do. And luckily enough, we're going to have new restrooms on the west side of the park. The 6th Avenue comfort stations are being completely redone. And I don't know that anyone loves public bathrooms, but these are going to be a whole lot better. As we walk into the park, we're going to enter across the most iconic structure, one of the most dramatic entrances to a park anywhere, the Cabrillo Bridge. And thankfully, because of the Friends, it's got a brand new paint job and it's never looked better than it does right now. Coming across the bridge, we're going to be looking at new lovely lighting sconces in the Plaza de California outside of the Museum of Us. These have been here since the first days of the exposition in 1915 and really needed some electrical upgrades, which they've gotten. They're also much more efficient, and the park in general is trying to get more and more self-sustaining, so this will help along along those lines. In Alcazar Garden, which is one of the most beautiful areas of the park, we finally replaced some of the fountain tiles, some of the uneven concrete in there, so it's much easier to walk through, and it's still a wonderful, quiet place of respite where people can come, sit down, and have a quiet time together with families within the park. Next to the Alcazar Gardens is one of the largest projects to take place in the interior of the park in years, an almost completely reimagining of the House of Charm. The Mingay Museum housed within is being transformed completely on the inside. There are even some exterior spaces that are being transformed and will be much more user-friendly. There's going to be places to look at the park, places to eat, places to congregate with friends. It is a major, major project and probably long overdue. The bridge next to Alcazar Canyon also has one of the most iconic features in the park, the beautiful Palm Canyon that has palm trees that date all the way back to the early 1900s. It has thousands of different plants. It also provides sort of a direct way to get both to the Old Globe Theater Complex and the Spreckles Organ Pavilion. But sometimes the bridge in the past was a little dark and frankly had a few trip hazards. Those have all been taken care of in this time that we've been shut down, and you'll find a much more enhanced area to visit the park that way. Another of the great things in this park, something that I certainly grew up enjoying as a kid, I'm sure a lot of you have, is the beautiful Morton Bay fig tree. When I was a kid, you could actually climb up in the tree. You haven't been able to do that for a long time. In fact, you haven't really been able to get very close to the tree at all because we were trying to protect the roots with a big chain link fence. Well, the Friends saw a need to make that better, make that a much, I guess maybe going back to our childhood, so they're building this wonderful ADA accessible ramp that allows people to get right under the canopy of the tree, fully enjoy it, really get the full sense of that magnificent tree that's been here for over 100 years, and we're really looking forward to that coming online. Across the street from that is arguably the largest single project ever to take place in Balboa Park. That is a complete recreation and reimagining of the children's zoo in the San Diego Zoo compound. When I was a young boy, the first thing I ever came to in Balboa Park over 60 years ago was the children's zoo. And so believe me, I am so excited to come back and see what they're doing there. I get to peek through the fence occasionally, and it is absolutely breathtaking, the things that they are going to be enhancing that area with. The other great thing about it is there are some very historic plantings that some of which were in that area all the way back to the Japanese garden that was there during the 1915 exposition. Those have been boxed up and saved, and many of them are being replanted back in the children's zoo or in other parts of the zoo or wild animal park, or safari park, I should say. A little bit further down from that area, we have another magnificent enhancement of something that is very historic in the park. We had the Houses of Pacific Relations cottages that date all the way back to the 1935 or second exposition. And they have been kind of lovingly cared for, restored all the way up until the present. But quite honestly, that wonderful organization, which is sort of like San Diego's own version of the United Nations, needed more space for all of the different communities that they represent. So after raising their own private funds and getting architects to come in and help design the area, there's been an addition of new cottages that are going to be coming online soon. There's a lot of public space, a lot of enhancement that's been done. These new structures actually have basements down below so that they can keep a lot of things that will make programming much better. So that's going to be really exciting as well. Across the street from the cottages is another area that's had a dramatic reimagining, an area that we sometimes call the Pan American Plaza or the Palisades area. Led to some magnificent organizations, the Air and Space Museum, the Automotive Museum, and we hope coming in the not too distant future, the Comic-Con Museum. They're all down in this area, but frankly it was an area that was just kind of a large parking lot that didn't have very many amenities, and we decided that we could improve it, make it much more pedestrian friendly, much safer, better for families, and really kind of make attractive an often neglected section of the park at the southern end. So there's been a wonderful collaboration with several city departments, several other groups, including some of the wonderful volunteer groups within the parking, to completely transform this area. We're making enhanced tram stops. We're making areas where people can picnic and sit and enjoy this end of the park. We've put in trees, just all kinds of trees. That's another thing that I should point out, is that we have, over the last year or so, added over 500 new trees within the park. So we are keeping it green, keeping it lush, keeping it beautiful. One of the recipients of this makeover at this end of the park is certainly the Automotive Museum. And if you ever want to see what a little bit of new paint can do and how it can make a building that in some cases was a little drab perhaps, just absolutely pop out and kind of restore the splendor that it had when it was part of the California Pacific International Exposition in the 1930s, be sure and visit the Automotive Museum. In addition to the repainting that's taken place at the Automotive Museum, there's going to be a wonderful restoration of some historic murals that were there when this was the California Exposition Hall in the 1935 fair. So stand by, they are absolutely wonderful, and they're going to be recreated with lovely tile work outside the entrance to the Automotive Museum. And in an area behind the Automotive Museum, or just to the north of that and sort of behind the Balboa Park Club, is a wonderful old cactus garden that was a dedicated garden. It was sort of the last garden laid out as a tribute to the great horticulturist Kate Sessions. It was really striking when it was first new, but like so many other things in the park, it sometimes suffered a little bit of neglect, but it is being lovingly restored now. Trails are being remanicured, a lot of new plants are coming in, and it is yet another amazing place to visit within the park. There are so many things that have gone on during this time that you've been away that I hope you will be able to come back and actually enjoy the park here and in person, but I hope this little virtual visit has helped pique your curiosity. And all I can say is that we love what you bring to the park. You're the people that make us able to do our jobs. And I hope, as I'm fond of saying now, the park isn't ideal, but it's perfect in its own way. Come enjoy it.
And we will. Thank you, sir. Glad you found your hat as well. When Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away last month, she left us a wealth of wisdom. One wonderful quote from notorious RBG was this: "Fight for the things you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you." When I read that, I immediately thought of Betty Peabody. She has lived that philosophy for years and has accomplished very much. So here now is Friends of BP founder, our own notorious BP.
Thank you, Clark. And virtual hugs. How pleased I am to recognize our honorary chair, Marie Tuthill, and our heartfelt congratulations to the Millennium Award recipient, the Japanese Friendship Garden, and of course, our lifetime friend, Ranger Kim. Manny, Frank, Robert, and Mike, what inspirations you are to all of us, as well as was steadfast Denise. And a warm welcome to Kristen in joining our merry band of young leaders. You are all what we love about our park. What a kaleidoscopic park journey we've just shared. To paraphrase Eugen Newhouse in his 1915 book, The San Diego Garden Fair, 3 years ago, this barren land was devoid of anything called vegetation. San Diego and its climate have produced a paradise of color everywhere, sky above, glistening tiles of blue and yellow, punctuated by red poinsettias and bougainvillea. San Diego achieved this out of the strength of her own resources. It will be considered a milestone in the civilization of the West. We owe ourselves nothing less. At our luncheon 19 years ago, our country had just suffered an event that would forever alter our lives as we had known them, 9/11. We spoke then of our park and its incredible role in bringing us together. We had no words to say, but the need to share. Our park gave us that solace. Nature heals. At the same time, in New York City, stunned beyond belief, someone began collecting bulbs, millions of bulbs. And in the spring, every single borough had ribbons of golden daffodils running through them. The art of nature brings hope. We recently learned that days after the A-bomb destroyed Hiroshima, someone in that devastated civilization glimpsed tiny bits of green on seemingly dead trees. They felt if nature could survive, they could as well. And the cherry tree movement between Japan, Hawaii, and California still offers inspiration today. Later, when catastrophic fires burned around us, Balboa Park was the nexus to meet the needs of the victims in every way. Those who offered comfort received more than they gave, with our park as the backdrop. Plants grow through soot and smoke to give hope. Once again, our whole West Coast is ablaze, and today we're all impacted by the pandemic of coronavirus. We need our park more than ever now, but our park needs us. It needs people who care, are interested, have resources, and will provide labor and money. In the foreseeable future, the city economy will be overwhelmed to provide basic services, and many philanthropic dollars will go to social services. Balboa Park and the Balboa Park Conservancy, with shared goals to protect, preserve, and enhance Balboa Park, are coming together to form one entity for the good of the park. Our egos were set aside for that greater good, and on August 26th, our board signed a non-binding memorandum of understanding. We've made remarkable progress in projects and programs and look forward to blending our boards, staffs, and volunteers. There will be less confusion for donors, more economies of scale, and efficiencies with the city, which will allow all resources to go to and stay in Balboa Park. We urge you to follow our progress, observe the changes in the park, and the creation of yet another milestone. Again, we owe ourselves nothing less. Now, in recognition of those years past, once more, I'll end with the quote, "I'll aspire to inspire before I expire. I invite each of you to do the same. My time has expired." Thank you.
Betty Peabody, inspiring as always. 152 years ago, the people of San Diego set aside a large chunk of land near the center of town for a public park, City Park, later on Balboa Park. Over the years, park protectors fought off speculators and legislators to guarantee that the park would remain open to everybody so that all of us could enjoy it. Balboa Park greets about 12 million visitors a year. It has hosted international expositions, presidents, Citizen Kane, Navy nurses, and troops training for war. It has welcomed artists and actors and concerts and nudists. There are lawn bowlers, redwoods, water lilies, poppies, butterflies, and the sculpture with Betty Davis eyes. And as Betty was saying, following 9/11, our park offered a tranquil place to mourn and to bond and to learn to carry on. 2020 is indeed an unusual year, but Balboa Park is again open outdoors, and you'll find it's a perfect place to enjoy and practice social distancing. As we have seen this evening, our park is ever-changing. People who care are rejuvenating our history and building for the future. Many of these caring people call themselves friends at Balboa Park. And if you consider yourself a friend, please begin or continue your support, will you? friendsofbalboapark.org is really easy to remember. And once you get there, we make it really easy for you to help preserve and improve our park for generations to come. Thank you for joining us this evening. Next year, we do hope to greet you in person once again, but hey, this has been fun, I think, hasn't it? Cheers to the San Diego treasure that is Balboa Park, and to all of you, 2 words, cheers and charcuterie. Have a good night.